bus. Saw a couple of people through this week. Maybe next week we'll show the video. All right, good morning, fine folks. You were about to walk out in front of here, weren't you? Today is Friday, January 27th, 2023, and this is your Friday safety meeting. My name is Dennis Davis. I work in the safety department. Our department is located in the Z building, ground level, not quite the basement, but right there on the ground level when you walk into the building, center of the room next to the pillars. So if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to stop by, ask us the questions. We can either get you some answers or point you in the right direction to some folks that do have the answers. You know, we never pretend to be perfect, but we are striving to be the best company we can be. You know, transparency is the name of the game. We come up here every single Friday, 52 Fridays a year, to be as transparent as we possibly can, answer the questions that you have, address any concerns. We don't always pretend that we're going to agree with you, but we'll definitely hear what you have to say. You know, we do this meeting also at our other outside locations. We're simulcasting live in Pittston, Pennsylvania, and in Salt Lake City, Utah, as well as across our social media platforms. So welcome to the folks that are watching live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and of course the folks that are going to watch this here in the future. So breakfast is free at all three locations. So let's give our folks a round of applause for helping us out, all three locations. It's never easy to feed a group of hungry trucking professionals on a Friday morning, but our folks seem to get it done without incident every single Friday morning. And for that, we appreciate. So let's go east first. Let's see who we got with us this morning. Our buddy Rick Iford. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Good morning. How y'all doing down there?
We are doing fantastic. Looks like you got a good group of folks up there with you. Tell us what's new and interesting going on at the Pittston terminal.
You know, we had a great orientation this week. Several drivers that have passed for their CDL tests. The pad is going strong as far as they're working down there doing their pre-trips. Yeah, we're getting it done today.
Well, good deal, good deal. And what's the weather like? I know this past week we had a little bit of weather, but it didn't quite shut us down. It closed schools for one day, but we were still able to get some things done here. What about you guys?
You know, same thing here. They had the roads closed down for empty trailers and bobtails, but they were still able to pull freight. So yeah, the weather's not too bad. This weekend's looking nice. Got a little bit of rain, but that's about it.
Well, fantastic. Well, if you or any of your friends there have a question, comment, or concern, don't hesitate to step to the microphone.
Hey, we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Going out west, Salt Lake City. Do we have Troy back with us?
Yeah, baby. We have got a full house in Salt Lake City today, man. How's it going?
All is well. You took a little bit of a sabbatical last week on us, but you're back and better than ever, right?
You know, I went golfing for 3 days, and I wish I had stayed here. I am not a good golfer, but it was a good time. I had a good time. So, but I missed this place.
And we missed you. You know, we were talking about that here a few days ago. About, you know, we've heard your poor jokes. We've heard your poor singing. You know, we've kind of heard it all from you. We think you do a fantastic job, and it's always a pleasure on a happy Friday morning to talk to you. So give us just a few seconds of updates in Utah.
Well, we got some people here from Missouri this week. I got Mr. Stan Casterkey here. He's here to see us and working on some training, working with LW Miller, you know, getting some stuff updated and getting some training in place. So we're doing, you know, just everything we can in Salt Lake City to keep growing and you know, keep innovating out here.
Well, that's fantastic. Maybe Stan will bring back a little of that Salt Lake City subculture and you know, trickle some of that down to the folks here. We think you guys do a fantastic job. So, as always, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to jump on the mic.
Will do. Thanks, buddy.
All right back here to Springfield, Missouri. Good morning, folks. All right, we got a small crowd, but they're mighty in spirit this morning. It's so good to see you folks. With me this morning is one of our newest safety associates, John Harden. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm feeling good today. I think this is going to be one of our best meetings ever.
I think so. I mean, the sun's out. It's supposed to be mid 40s today. We've had some cold weather, so it's a great day.
You know, it's Friday. You know, I think we all got paid. I just assumed that happened. So, you know, that's a good feeling. We work at a great company, you know, and I think we've got a few new folks in the crowd here today. So, you know, at all three locations, if we got any new drivers to Prime or a PSD, a BC, CC, whatever the case may be, stand up. Come on, stand up. Let us see who you are. Let us properly welcome you to the family. Thank you guys so much for being here. We got a good group of new folks here today.
We do. It's good to see.
Good to see. You know, we don't ever pretend, like I said earlier, to be a perfect company. And we know that we've got some things we need to do to get better. But I think we're pretty good. I think we're probably one of the best in the industry. And that's just a biased opinion, but you know, so be it. You know, we really appreciate you guys choosing Prime. We know you guys were the best of the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So that means you had options. You had other trucking companies that you were looking at and other trucking companies that were looking at you. But there's something magical, something specific about Prime that you said, that's the one. And we appreciate you coming here. If for whatever reason we're not meeting your needs, come and let us know. We're always here to listen. Again, like I said at the beginning, we don't always agree with you, but we're always here to listen and figure out problems the best way. All right. Also, I think we've got some folks here that are not new, some veterans. So, you know, for our veteran drivers, folks that have been here a while with us, we've got, you know, the TDC team members. We've got, you know, multi-million-mile drivers I see out in the crowd. I just want to tell you guys good morning and welcome home. We appreciate you being here at each of our locations. So give yourselves a round of applause. You know, we got a pretty full meeting today, so I won't, you know, dive deep, but, you know, John and I are going to talk a little bit about safety. Let's talk about what the numbers were first this week.
Okay, here's the numbers on the inspections this week. So we had 141 total inspections, 98 clean, so 70% clean. So give yourselves a big round of applause. It's about double the industry average, right, Dennis? As far as we can tell, it's about double. So you guys are knocking it clean out there. So we paid out $900 on the company side and $9,400 for a total of $10,300 this week for clean inspections. So that's free money. We appreciate you guys doing your job, doing it thoroughly, and being the best out there at doing it. So a couple of other topics here we'll talk about. You know, every week, as everybody knows from watching this meeting, we go through every citation, every inspection. Dennis looks at them all. It was my turn this week to go through them. So a couple of things that I noticed that I wanted to talk about. And two of them were a pretty big deal, and we're going to talk more about these in a future meeting. But, you know, we still see the equipment issues out there. So make sure we're doing our pre-trips, make sure that everything's safe to move down the road. But the two other ones that I saw a couple come through this week, one of them was bypassing a scale, and the other one was a handheld device citation or a warning. Either one, it's the same deal as far as our CSA points are concerned. So, you know, these are two very major violations that we want to eliminate from getting altogether. So, you know, I just encourage everybody, whenever you're out there driving, have your phone in a backpack, have it in the back. You know, don't ever let it be a distraction. Don't let it be a temptation to look at. You know, and we get the same thing. And Dennis, you can maybe fill in here too a little bit, but, you know, I'll get a call or I'll talk with somebody and they'll say, you know, man, it fell and I just picked it up and he was right there and saw me. And, you know, that's hard to believe that if we get 20 of those at 19 happen like that, right? So don't let that be a distraction. Very dangerous. You know, if my family or your family was traveling down the road beside a driver, you know, hauling 80,000 pounds down the road, you definitely wouldn't want them on the phone or being distracted. So that's what I wanted to mention from the inspections this week.
So, you know, you talk about distracted driving. That's a big deal. You know, I watched the video on yesterday and it kind of caught me off guard, even got me a little bit of emotional, you know, about a family that lost their dad because a truck driver just, you know, being human, you know, responding to the phone, a ding. I think the story was his girlfriend was showing him a house on Zillow. He was pretty excited, picked up that phone and, catastrophe happen, and we're going to dedicate a meeting here in the near future specifically to addressing the concerns of distracted driving. But, the other thing that John talked about, passing up scales, we've put some programming in place, and next week, Sean Riker is going to come in. He's going to talk specifically about, the transition from pre-pass to drive-wise that gives us those 2 mile, 1 mile time to exit heads up for upcoming way stations. So, we obviously see some challenges, and it's our responsibility, as your leadership here at Prime to put the necessary tools in place and make the necessary changes to fix them. And that's just what we're doing.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to add? You want to get right into the speakers?
Hey, you know what? We need to get right into the speakers. We want to make sure everybody has plenty of time today. So what we got up first?
All right. We're going to hit hard pretty first, right off the bat here. We're going to bring up a couple of folks from our log department, Brennan Officer Jeff Wood. We're also going to bring up Cole Baldus, who is a reefer fleet manager here. And I'm looking to see, we had one other guest. I'm looking to see if he's here this morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on up here, Jim. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about, we're doing a test for personal conveyance on 6 fleets right now. So we're going to get some live feedback. Appreciate any feedback that you guys have right now. And Mr. Black here, he's been here longer than I have. I remember when I first started training, you were on Steve Tassin's board. So you were one of the very first people that I met coming here to Prime. So
It's been a while.
it's been a while. So does a great job. So from somebody that's been here for a long, long time, and I see more of them here in the crowd, you've been through a lot of changes here. So it'd be good to get some feedback from you. Brennan, you want to start?
Yeah. All right. So this week we added 3 of the largest lease fleets to this personal conveyance test. Really, it's been a good thing. It's been very educational. We have had a few drivers call in to have their PC reactivated. And they actually found out that they would have been misusing PC had it not been for this test. It's also been a good thing in terms of protection. Like we've mentioned several times over the course of the last few weeks, this ultimately is protection for you as the drivers and protection for Prime as a whole. Anytime you need to use PC, you'll just have to reach out to your log person, have a quick discussion with us. As long as we can verify that the movement you need to make is legal PC, we can turn it back on for you, no problem. You would just give us a call when you're finished with the movement, and we would disable the personal conveyance. So far, I would say we've had maybe 10 calls at most for each log person that's covering these test fleets to have personal conveyance turned back on. So really, it's not been overwhelming yet. But this is also to evaluate our resources and see where we need to go from here.
Cole, I want you to jump in. I want you to talk about it from a fleet manager standpoint. Anytime change comes, and we'll even go back to, when we went from 75 to 65, or when we switched from paper to AORBDs, or when we went to full, electronic logs. There's always a change, and there's always a learning curve that comes with it. And as a fleet manager, making sure that drivers can still pick up and deliver on time, making sure they can navigate from customer to truck stop seamlessly. Have you seen any problems? And, you've got a pretty large fleet, right?
Oh, yeah. Got a handful of guys. So as of now, off the top of my head, I haven't seen one service failure because we didn't have PC. They've had to do a little bit better trip planning. There's been a little bit more conversation about, hey, why don't I have PC anymore? We've sent out multiple fleet messages, but as far as running the truck and trip planning, haven't seen any issues. I keep trying to get feedback on call time, when they call into logs, and right now they say they're able to access logs right away, 24 hours a day. So hasn't been much of an issue.
And I know your fleet just started under this week, but I can guarantee you that you've had 0 PC violations so far.
I haven't seen any from Jeff saying, hey, this guy's misusing, which is great. I really do like the layer of protection there.
So, you and I can talk about it because we sit here behind the desk. We're not out there in the field, out there at the customers really having to deal with this. So we've got, you know, Mr. Black here, longtime driver here at Prime, good looking beard, you know, bald head. In fact, I think we kind of look alike if you don't, you know.
Probably related somewhere.
Probably related. So, you know, whether you agree or disagree, I'm okay with you, you know, being, you know, expressing dissent. Tell me your honest thoughts about this whole test and the potential that it's moving forward.
Okay, well, honest thoughts is Jeff's my log auditor, and he got me about 3-4 weeks ago. I screwed up on PC. That's all right. He straightened it out, and we clarified it. Everything's fine. And then we went to this having to call in thing. The only two problems I have with it is time. And at 65 years old, it's hard to ask permission to do something.
You know,
Time is a pain. If you have to call to get it turned on and it takes 10, 15, 20 minutes for it to happen, you tend to make a lot of people around you angry if you're not moving. Luckily, I've only had a few minutes wait, so it hasn't been bad. It hasn't impacted anything really bad. I hope it goes back to what it was before, but it's also your house, your rules. So,
well, it's our house, you know, and you know, when it comes to the quote unquote rules, our goal is to protect you top down, you know, and there's a couple different layers. And, you know, hopefully, you know, Brendan talked about, you know, so far we haven't seen really any outlier situations where, you know, either during the day or even overnight, someone's had to hold, you know, extended amount of time. Would happen? It probably, you know, there are outlier situations. We understand that. And that's what our goal is for this test, to find out what those are, find out what our staffing needs will be, and make the necessary adjustments as we move forward. But I do want to kind of just talk about, you know, this test from an overall perspective. And, you know, Mr. Black talked about some of the challenges that he may see out there from an individual driver perspective. But I also want to talk about some of the challenges from an overall company perspective, if that's okay.
oh no, sure. It's as far as a layer of protection, it's great for all of us. I would think that everybody here is mature enough to know what the rules are as far as using PC. And if there's those that are abusing it, call it to somebody's attention, straighten it out, or take it away altogether. But I think it's kind of rough to go ahead and lump everybody into something where maybe there's only a few that are abusing the privilege.
I'm glad you said that. That was actually my next, man, it's almost like we planned this, but we didn't. So, you know, some of the feedback that we've gotten, you know, with this PC test is, you know, obviously our CSA scores aren't what we want them to be, right? And we know that they're rising. So that means we have to do something about it. So two things when it comes to kind of that notion. One, you know, suspending personal conveyance for folks that are egregious users is basically what you're saying. You know, that's what we already do. All right. And, you know, the goal is to change the trajectory of where we're going. And if we continue to do the same thing that we're already doing, I don't imagine that we'll yield any different results, you know, so that's the first thing. But, you know, and I want you to think about the logic of this next part. You know, our folks that are egregious users, they don't have PC anymore. Okay. They're not the ones driving up the score because they don't have it. All right. The folks that are driving up the score, and no offense to you, Mr. Black, when you talked about that situation with Jeff a few weeks ago, I'm sure it wasn't malicious. I'm sure you weren't trying to circumvent any of the rules. You made an honest mistake. All right. And had you been pulled over, had you been an officer went through your last 8 days and he caught that, that's what's driving up the score. Not, you know, John Doe that's, you know, blowing it out of the water using PC like it's drive time. We catch those pretty quick and they don't have it. It's us honest folks that I didn't know or I just made a mistake that's driving up the score. So, you know, and I feel like, you know, from a company perspective, we owe you a couple things, Mr. Black. We owe you first the insurance that anytime you click personal conveyance or any duty status for that matter, that you're doing it with the full support of Prime. All right. You know that if anything happens, whether it be roadside inspection or God forbid an accident, that no one's going to go back and look at your logs and say you did something wrong, whether malicious or by mistake. That's what we owe you. Okay. Now, what we also owe you, because under this DOT number, that CSA score, everybody's CSA score kind of indirectly affects you. So You could be perfect, but Cole, if he's driving down the road and has an inspection and gets hit, that affects the company's CSA score. And that does a couple different things. You know, as we talk about drive-wise and trying to reduce the amount of times we get pulled in. Have you noticed you're getting pulled in a little bit more? That's because the folks around you, you know, may be driving up that score. So what we owe you is that not only are we protecting you from you, that we're protecting you from your fellow drivers to make sure that, you know, you don't get pulled in any more than you need to. And now, and here's the second to the last part, you know, we got customers asking, hey, they're getting alerts that, hey, Prime, we've noticed that, you know, your CSA score is a little bit different than what it used to be. You know, are we doing something about it? Are we addressing the issue? And the easy answer to that is, yes, we are. We're putting some things in place to protect all our drivers. And, you know, of course, the last part, God forbid, if you or one of your cohorts were to find themselves in an accident situation, whether it was your fault or not, and there's some PC use, it really puts us in a bad situation. So
Sure. My final question is then, for the people that you know they absolutely abuse it, you give them some kind of counseling session once, you give them some kind of a log class once, but if they continuously do it, why aren't they working for Brand X?
So, you know, we're a coaching company, all right? And if it's a situation where somebody is just egregiously abusing it, you know, we're not going to run you out of here right away, all right? I'm not a perfect man. I've made some mistakes
I'm
in my
still
day.
here, I know that.
You know, and what we do is coach our drivers on the right thing to do. Of course, we don't immediately give them personal conveyance back. You know, we have them do our comprehensive law class. They have access to folks like Brennan and Jeff. And we've also got folks here at night, so they've got log access 24 hours a day to get any coaching they need. All right. But what we've learned is what drivers learned after losing it for 30, 60, 90 days, whatever the case may be, they probably don't need it as much as they thought they did. All right. So as Brennan talked about, the calls don't come as often as we thought they would. And part of that is because we know that those folks that were, you know, and I'm not going to say egregiously, but maybe that 11 minutes where they know they shouldn't have been doing that 20 minutes where they know they shouldn't have been doing that, they're not calling to get that coverage because they already know.
Oh, sure.
Can I hit a top? Hello.
It's on. Go ahead.
You hit a very good point a while ago. The counseling stuff. When we turn the PC off, okay, one of the things I look at is your status. If you're in sleeper berth, I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to wake you up. Okay, but I am going to try and send you a message. When you guys wake up, give us a call. One thing that I have seen over the last few weeks is, you know, a lot of the drivers don't understand that they're misusing the PC. And when they call in and talk with us, we discuss it. So far, almost everybody I've talked to has had great feedback and said, man, I didn't understand that until now. Thank you for talking to me. Let us talk with you, counsel you, whatever you want to call it, and explain to you how PC works, why we need to do this. It's a great one-on-one, and I've been getting a lot of good feedback with it.
Good deal. Good deal. So Cole, I'm gonna end with you. And last week we had Derek Hossman here, and you know, Derek said, hey, to be honest, I was a little bit apprehensive about how this would work. I didn't know what the call volume would be. I didn't know how my drivers would respond. And he kind of shared the same sentiments you did, you know, that, hey, you know, I'm really not getting the pushback or feedback that I thought I would. Everybody's kind of going with the flow. Is that kind of?
I'd 100% agree. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is the layer of protection. I think, like you said earlier, it takes all the guesswork out of the game. If something bad happened, we knew exactly what he was doing. So I like that. I think it's worth the extra call. Or, you know, I will say, you know, I've seen drivers send in messages to logs and you know, hey, I'm going to PC here in a few minutes out of the 90, go down the truck stop and take a shower. And Jeff's responded right away and turned it on. And then they get over there and they say, hey, I'm at the truck stop now. You can turn it off.
Perfect situation. So, you know, I want to thank you all for being up here, especially Mr. Black. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day to be with us this morning. You know, I do want to open it up to the crowd. If you have any questions, I think we need a microphone here. Here you go.
Besides pertaining to the PC, you said our CSA scores are going up. What other area are we getting scores to make our scores go up for us drivers?
Couple other basics that, hazmat, and we can go into a full dissertation about where it is with hazmat. The other is the unsafe driving. That's where you talk about the bypassing scales that John and I talk about, and the little things. And these are the ones that always kind of get me frustrated. The speeding, 1 to 6, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. These are the, as we talk about the blocking and tackling things that we can get fixed. So. A couple of things we've got in place to correct that. We've got this PC test that we're looking to address the hours of service portion. Sean Riker from our permits and payroll department will be here next week to go into full description about what we're doing as far as drive-wise to make sure we're giving drivers the resources they need so that we're not bypassing the scales. So we do have some challenges, but we also do have some solutions.
Question in Piston.
Hi. So I've previously been driving with a DAB member, and so I've heard a lot of chat about this whole thing. And, the drivers become lease drivers to have a little more autonomy, and the feeling is that you're taking that away from them. How do you address that?
So ultimately, it's not taking away any of that autonomy. You still have access to PC. You'll just have to have a quick discussion with your log person to get it turned back on. And again, we owe that to you. It's that layer of protection. We've had plenty of drivers call in, like I mentioned earlier, that thought they were using PC correctly, and turns out they weren't. And now moving forward, they know when they can and cannot use PC. And what you also need to remember is that even when you're running as a lease driver, you still have that prime DOT number on the side of your truck. So as a lease driver, if you're ticketed for PC misuse, not only does that impact your CSA score, but it goes into prime CSA score as well, further impacting the rest of the company.
I think we had a question from Piston.
Hey, this is for Brennan. Can you give us a couple of examples as why drivers were not able to be switched to PC?
So a few examples of when they cannot switch to PC include going to fuel stops or going to a wash facility to get a washout, going to customers, even if they're a couple miles away and they're just returning to their customer that they initially arrived to the day before. You've got to be on drive for all those work-related movements. Anything that is classified as long distance or work motivated has to be logged on the drive line.
All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? Just 1 second, we want to get you on the microphone.
Okay, if that move takes you over your 14 or your whatever your drive time, we have to move. So what do we do? How do you note it? It's not legal to move, period. No matter how you note it in your log. So how do we do it?
So the goal is being proactive and thoroughly trip planning and communicating so we don't wind up in that position in the first place. However, you can trip plan to your heart's content. Every once in a while, it's not going to be enough. But ultimately, misusing PC is never going to be an option. If you have to show drive, you are making a work-related movement, log drive.
Okay, I don't use PC anymore at all anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, log drive always. I mean, the FMCSA is opened up to where they allow more freedom and flexibility when it comes to split breaks. Not only can you utilize an 8 and 2, but you can also utilize a 7 and 3 and everything in between there. So we can usually avoid those violations as long as you trip plan and communicate. However, if you do drive beyond your clock, it's got to be on the drive line if it's a work-related movement. Add a notation to your log to explain what happened, and we're hoping an officer will take that into account, maybe choose to cut you some slack.
All right, thanks.
Anybody else while we're here? I know there's a lot of chatter going on social media, and there's certain delegations that'll say, "Oh, don't do that." I love it. I love that we're having the conversation. We're bringing notoriety to the situation. Keep having the discussions. If you disagree with us, we understand. We don't expect for you to agree with everything we say or do, But I invite you to stop by my desk, give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever you want to do. Let's have the discussion. We're open to having those conversations. So, we'll be talking about this a little bit more in detail with our driver advisory board next month. So we're looking forward to getting that information out. I've told Brennan that, hey, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to have you here. It may not be as long as this particular session, but we're going to have you here next week. We're going to kick Cole out and let him go run his fleet, and we'll replace him with Jonathan Grice to talk about, his drivers and his experience with the test. So thank you guys so much. Let's give these folks a round of applause.
All right, thank you. Lots of great information right there. Appreciate everybody being down here and discussing that, and appreciate all your questions as well. So next up, we're going to bring up recruiting here. We've got Nikki Yost, and it's been a while since we've had recruiting down here, I know. So I think we've got some exciting news for everybody here. So, as everybody knows that's been watching these meetings, the yellow vest, the new folks standing up, there's just been a handful maybe. So is that getting ready to change, Nikki?
We sure hope so. So we have been capped on hiring for the last couple months and not bringing in as many people. As of last week, we are 100% open. So we're looking to fill reefer, flatbed, tanker, intermodal. Within those divisions, we do have over the road, regional, and some dedicated. So if you guys know somebody, that leads me to my next topic is referrals at Prime. And most of you guys probably have seen the videos and people out there really hustling for referrals. So I just wanted to mention that a third of our hires actually come from referrals. So yes, we have a great marketing team, but the referrals, that's our bread and butter, in my opinion. When I see an application that comes in and it's got one of your names on it as a referral, that goes to the top of my list because that means something. That's like a family member sending somebody over to me. So our referrals, one of our top referrals last year made $119,000 on referrals alone. And I don't even really see him putting out very many new videos, but could you imagine $119,000 just off of referrals? I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around that.
That's incredible. And another thing, everybody here, whether you're new this week to Prime or whether you started, the early 90s, like I know some of you did here that I see. So, if you're a referral, you refer a driver in, and same for when you started, having that person to lean on, to talk to for advice, for guidance is huge in being successful and huge in a long career here at Prime. So
100%. So if you know somebody, send them over. When they apply on the application, they need to either list your name or your driver code. So if any of you guys are interested in starting this up and starting referrals, you can come talk to us in marketing or in recruiting, and we can help you. We can get you business cards with your driver code on it. We can actually even get you an application link that you can send to people with your code already on it. So when it comes over to us, we know it came from you. If you don't feel comfortable doing YouTube videos, just word of mouth. And I get a lot of calls from people that say, hey, I met this person at a truck stop and he told me he makes this. Was he lying? So, we go over 13-week averages with most of our callers to give them real figures. So let me know if you guys want help with referrals. We can definitely help you. The next thing I wanted to talk about just briefly was our Highway Diamonds program. There's quite a few females in here, so that's pretty exciting. The last figures that I got is we had 1,470 female drivers. So that number's probably went up over the last week. So pretty exciting. We do have the Highway Diamonds event coming up in March. I think it's March 20th. So if any of you guys want to go to it, get with your fleet manager now and get that on the calendar so you guys can make sure that you can come to that. It's going to be awesome. It's a huge party. And we do have Dee Sova here for the females, or the males, I guess. She brought some body alarms over. So they're like these little keychains. And when you pull them, an alarm goes off. I have actually given this to my daughter that is 18 in college. So if she ever needs it, she just pulls that and a really annoying alarm goes off. So there you go.
Perfect. So you said you're wide open, but are there any restrictions at all out there as far as, maybe folks that live in a certain area or whatever that
Yeah.
aren't open to right now?
Unfortunately, we're still not hiring new drivers from Florida at this time. I don't know how long that will last, but periodically you can just call in and check with recruiting and we'll try to update you guys. If you know somebody that's going to be a permanent team with you, 100% go ahead and have them apply. And we'll do everything we can to get that permanent team on with you.
Okay, great. Does anybody here at any of the other terminals have any questions for Nikki? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so let's get those referral bonuses coming in. 19,000, and that's not even from driving. Man,
It's unbelievable, isn't
that
it?
is fantastic. I think I might have to do some part-time work, in the
Talk
recruiting
about one of those
department.
links, I think. So,
Exactly. We can do YouTube, can we? We can do podcasts, YouTube, whatever we need to do.
absolutely.
All right. So, hey, so you see, they talked about the personal alarms over here on this red dolly here. There's a box full of those, men, women, children. Come on over here, pick one up. We want all of those gone before you guys get out of here. So we appreciate it. Hey, just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. We've made a few mentions to the Prime mobile app this morning. So, new folks, it's a fabulous tool. In my opinion, it's probably the most valuable tool that you'll have here at Prime. If you or anybody else is having issues or has questions about your Prime mobile app or really anything Prime technology related, I've got our experts over here to my right, Richard and Brianne. After the meeting, come on up, ask them whatever questions that you may have. So, also this past Monday, we had a very special event. We had our Million Mile celebration where we brought in drivers that, had either already reached that milestone of 1,000,000 miles and wanted to come in and celebrate with us. But especially there was 235 drivers in 2022 that reached that milestone. And so, I just want to give special recognition. Any 1,000,000 driver in the room or at our other locations, 1, 2, 3, we also have 4 1,000,000 drivers, stand up and give us an opportunity to say thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. If my math is correct, that's probably about 40% of the room here in Springfield that stood up to be recognized as either one or multi-1,000,000 drivers. That's not going to happen in a ton of different companies.
Man, that's incredible. It really is.
That is incredible. So thank you guys for what you do. We had an awesome celebration on Monday night. Hopefully it was up to your expectation and you had a good time. For our 2+ million mile drivers, so the folks that have 2, 3, or 4, or the folks that accomplished that milestone here in 2022, we're going to celebrate you specifically on Monday, February 13th. Hopefully, you've already got your request to RSVP. Let us know if you're going to be here. Let us know who you're going to bring with you. We're going to make the celebration a fantastic event. So,
All right. Well, we're going to move on to our next speaker here. So we're going to bring up Mr. Kyle Walk. He's an 18-year associate here at Prime. Lots of experience on the dispatch side. He's been in both refrigerator and tanker now. So, Kyle, what do you got for us this morning?
Well, good morning. Brett Von Wheeler's out of the office today visiting some customers, so he asked me to come up and talk tanker. A lot of good things going on in tanker. 2022 was a very good year for us. With good years brings good growth. So a lot of growth going on in tanker right now. 2022 also brought some arrival of some new Walker tankers for us. So that's really helped us out a lot. So with our new growth, has anyone experienced our new Manuka terminal? Any questions, concerns, comments about that nice facility up there? I would like to comment, I think last week we heard that there were some door shortages here for the bunk rooms and showers. Just to let you know, we don't have that shortage in Manuka. So if you need to go up there, take a shower, get a nice brush, you have plenty of good facilities up there. So Brett wanted me to bring up with our new growth, we do have some openings in the tanker division in our Midwest regional. That'd be the upper Midwest for food grade and inedible. And we also have some Northeast regional positions open in our oil food grade division.
So real quick on that right there, if I'm a driver and this sounds interesting to me, is there specific locations in the Midwest or Northeast that maybe would get me home more frequently or specific customers locations that maybe you work out of more than others?
Yes. So, the oil business is a pretty interesting transportation piece. So our food grade oil is pretty much surrounded around an ocean port or a river port. So a lot of business out of the Port of New Jersey, Savannah, Georgia, a lot of chocolate. Anybody here like chocolate? Yeah. All right. Robert likes chocolate. Steve, you like chocolate? Maybe just a little bit. Okay. We do a lot of Hershey business out of, the Pittston area, Hershey, PA, Palmyra, and our chocolate tanker business goes down to Cleveland, Tennessee. Probably a lot of refrigerated folks in here have delivered to Cleveland, Tennessee, Mars plant. That's where we're bringing a lot of that inbound liquid chocolate. We also have a tanker terminal in Decatur, Indiana. Anybody been through there? Pretty nice facility, nice and big, plenty of places to park. Kevin, you like to park up there? All right, good. So you're always welcome to use those facilities in Manuka and Decatur if you ever need a, place to park, clean shower. There's food close by around down in there. So a lot of oil business around Chicago, Decatur, Indiana area. We also have another division that we just started here a couple of years ago, Inedible, which is a fancy name for pet food ingredients. Anybody here got a pet? Any pets in the truck? Okay, good. Go buy some more dog food because you're contributing to Prime Inedible. All right. So that business is primarily surrounded around the Midwest. We do go down into Eastern Texas, a lot of business in Northwest Arkansas. Spencer, Iowa is a big dog food distributor. So we're in that area too. So primarily if you draw kind of a half circle around, the Kansas, Nebraska line all the way to, upstate New York and then down into South Carolina and Georgia, that is where a lot of your pet food business ingredients ships out of.
Okay. So it's a pretty broad area there that maybe you guys encompass. So does anybody have any questions here at the other terminals for Kyle while he's up here? You didn't get off easy like Nikki did.
If we're a reefer driver, because I know the fifth wheel setup is different on the tanker trucks. If somebody wants to go and have their truck and go to the tanker division, is that available to do?
Well, we'd probably take you, Kevin, but everybody else, I don't know. And that's a good question. We do get those questions a lot. So if you are a refrigerated driver and you have your own truck or you're leasing a truck, that truck probably does not have the PTO pump requirements capabilities. So the transfer process would be you basically have to turn in that truck and lease a tanker truck.
Okay, good question. Okay, anybody else? Kyle, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you this morning, Kyle. Hey, we brought Kyle up here, specific feedback from drivers. They say, hey, we hear a lot from Jim Guthrie and Steve Wilkie about the reefer divisions. Hey, can we hear some information about some of the other divisions? So we invited, Brett's traveling. So he sent the next best thing, Kyle, to give us some information and maybe next couple of weeks, we'll get some folks in from the flatbed division as well.
That's right. Well, we got intermodal next week.
Yeah,
and then we're going to bring
those guys too
as well. So
there you go. All right. So John, I'm gonna call an audible on you a little bit. John's got this list that he came up with, and then I come up here and just mess up the whole schedule, right?
all right.
So, we converse a lot in our department. We were a close-knit group, and, one of the things we always ask each other on Monday, hey, what'd you do this weekend? And of course, everybody always has fun stuff to do. You know what I did this weekend, John?
What'd you do?
Taxes. I did my taxes, and it was terrible. Just kind of wish I would have had somebody to do it for me. All right. So, it is that time of year. We've expired 2022. We're into 2023, and it's time for our folks to kind of get their due diligence done and get their their taxes done. You know, I'm going to ask Terry Wingo to come on up here and talk to us a little about some of the services we offer. You don't always have to use our services. We're okay with that, but there's some good information that she can give you about whatever service you use. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning. How is everybody? Everybody doing good?
Yeah.
That's great. It is tax season, and for most people, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Okay, well, it's not. Most of us, all of us, even Dennis here, we dread filing our tax return. I dread it for myself. I dread filing my own tax return. And that's okay. We can dread it. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of things that you have to keep track of. But one thing that you shouldn't do is you shouldn't fear it. Okay? So if you're fearing it, let's talk about that. Are we prepared? Did we plan for it? So you lease and owner ops out there, if you paid your quarterly estimates, you shouldn't fear it because you're already ahead of the game because you're prepaying for that tax liability, okay? So if you've got all of your expenses together, you've already paid your quarterly estimates, now you just got to file it. It's done, okay? And for anybody else that hasn't and you haven't paid your quarterly estimates, get your expenses together. Find that tax person that you trust, okay? And the reason why I say that is because you need to know that they understand this industry, okay? Because if they don't understand this industry, you're going to miss some deductions, okay? So ask them the questions that are for this industry, which is a phenomenal industry that you are in, okay? But it is different than any other industry. So ask them if they know what a lumper is. You all know what a lumper is, but if they don't, guess what? That's a huge expense for you, okay? That is something that you're paying out. If they don't know what that is, you're going to miss that. Ask them if they know other things that are for the industry. Let's talk about kitty litter. Kitty litter, is that for transportation or is that for veterinarian industry or the pet service industry? What do you all use it for? Traction. Guess what? It also is a great thing for an oil spill. You put that on there, it's a great absorbent. You can then clean it up a lot easier. So for those expenses, they need to be ordinary and necessary for your industry. That has now become ordinary and necessary. Okay. So make sure whoever you use, and please find somebody, whoever you use understands your industry. Now, another thing. So we've talked about the fear and we're eliminating the fear. The next one is avoiding it. If we just avoid it, it's going to go away. It's not. It's not. It will actually be much worse. It may go away for a couple of years, but once the IRS gets involved, then you think you feared it and you dreaded it before, it's going to get worse. It's going to be a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort to make sure that you get that cleaned up because they're going to file a return for you when you didn't. And it will be off of your gross amount. There will be no expenses. And they're going to file it on somebody that's single with no dependents. That's huge. Okay. So make sure that you're filing it. If you cannot pay that amount, we can get you set up with a payment plan that is something that is more manageable for you. Okay. So make sure that you're doing that. Don't fear it. Come talk to us. Come talk to your accountant. Make sure that you're just taking care of it. We're upstairs if you need us. Our office number is 417-380-5000. We also have an app that has the organizer on it that you can also get to. And I think I've heard that the 1099s and W-2s have already been dropped to the Prime app. So I think that's available as well. So anyway, if you have questions, come see us. Okay, we have a lot of resources. What I'm holding here is if you haven't decided on an entity type for like an LLC or an S Corp, we've got some great information upstairs. Make sure you're doing that so you can also have a layer of protection for your business as well. Come see us.
All right. Any quick questions for Terry before we let her off? It looks like we got one way back here in the back. Hold on. Let us get you on microphone here.
Your tax and accounting service, is it only for lease drivers or their resources for someone who may just be a consumer and have some tax issues.
I couldn't hear it.
Can you repeat that? Put that thing up on
Does
the,
your office offer resources for someone who is not a lease driver and maybe just has some consumer tax issues?
Oh, absolutely. Come up and talk to us. We can work with you on that. Absolutely. We can give you some guidance and help you through that.
anybody else? All right, thanks,
All right.
Dave.
Thank you.
That's good advice.
I know. I wish I would have had that.
Did you do your own taxes?
I did, and it's probably wasn't the best decision I ever made in my
I
life.
hope I don't have to come visit you in jail or anything.
Well, I mean, if I do, we got a great team to back us up, right?
Okay.
There we go. Hey, back to our regularly scheduled program. You know, 'tis the season every day for thieves to want what you have. You guys and ladies work extremely hard for what you do. It's part of the prime culture, hard work. You know, but part of the thieves culture is, you know, wait for the people to work hard and take from them. So we're going to have Bill Boney from our security department come on and talk about what we can do to protect ourselves from those that want it.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? So just real quick, from 21 to 22, we saw about a 15% increase on cargo thefts across the network. Not in prime, but I'm talking the total trucking industry. 15% increase, which is quite a bit of increase. Now, for the longest time in 22, food was number one thing being stolen. Right at the end of 22, household goods took over and made the number one item being stolen. Now, household goods, for anybody who doesn't know, are like refrigerators, stoves, microwaves, all that type of appliances that you would put into your house. You're thinking, man, that's really weird to steal that stuff. But has anybody here tried to buy appliances for a house lately? They're like 6 months to a year on backlog. You just can't get them. The number two thing that was being stolen out there was electronics. TVs is the number one thing going right now. So the good thing is, and I shouldn't say the good thing, but most of these things are occurring out in the California. California is just getting hammered right now. Everybody is getting into these electronics out there. They're waiting for them to come off the port. The port says we've all heard are all backed up. So they're waiting for these trucks to leave the ports. They're waiting for them to stop the first time. And then they're stealing the whole truck and trailers and then fencing all the electronics in there. So luckily we don't deal with electronics, but we still have that food going in. The food is still number three. Food is still number three. So here's my question to you. Who in this room uses an alloy lock? Who in this room doesn't use an alloy lock? Come on, who doesn't use an alloy lock? There's got to be somebody in this room that doesn't. You don't use it? Come on, okay, who uses an alloy lock that doesn't like the way it works? Gets stuck all the time. Okay, come on up here. I want to talk to you. So your name, sir?
Chris Showman, DAB member.
Hey, Chris, how you doing, bud? So you use an alloy lock, right?
Yep.
But does it get stuck sometimes? Does it freeze up? Do you have
Yep.
issues with it? Okay, what do you use?
WD-40.
WD-40. I was hoping you were going to say that. So let's see here. That's not the WD-40. Let's see. You use this stuff, right? WD-40.
Mhm.
So I reached out to the manufacturer of alloy. I thought, you know, we sell these locks. These locks are expensive. They're $48 now because they went up a little bit from Enforcer. So they're $48. We're asking you to make a pretty good investment of $48 to take care of it.
Mhm.
But you use it, you go out in that snow, rain, all that stuff, and you get stuck, you use WD-40. Worst thing you can use on a lock is WD-40. Let me explain to you why. WD-40 breaks down grease. There's lubricants inside of a locking mechanism which allows it to open and close. As you spray in that WD-40, it'll work for a while, but then it'll start gumming up with dirt and residue that gets in there and gets stuck. So what they want you to do is use a graphite type lubricant, like a dry lock. LPS2 is another great thing, but stay away from the WD-40. Worst thing you can use on a lock. And I know it's so easy, guys, because you go anywhere and find WD-40, right? It's everywhere. But you can also find this 3-in-1 lock stuff at a big box store. I got it from Home Depot yesterday. So that's what we want you to use. But we still want you to use that investment in that lock, because these locks are expensive. I mean, but these locks will also save you that if you have these locks on and you have a cargo claim, somebody breaks in the back of your trailer, and we had one just a couple of weeks ago. Lady had her seal broken. They attempted to open up her door, but she had a alloy lock on the back. Thieves couldn't get in. Saved her a big cargo loss right there. But if you have one of these and you can prove you had it on the back of your trailer and they break in, steal your freight, you're not responsible for it. That entire freight cost is waived.
Part of my pre-trip now, since you guys have said that in the past, is walking around the back, taking a picture of the trailer number and the seal and the lock all at the same time. And I delete it later, but once I deliver, it's another insurance policy right there. So, because if later on the seal's broke or something like that and the door is open, you don't have that picture, it's going to fall back on me instead of just that lock.
So anyway, here's a new lock for you because your old one wasn't working right. There you go, brand new lock for you. Thanks for coming up. Appreciate it. Anybody got any questions?
We do have a question.
Go
Hang
ahead,
on
Cass.
just a minute.
Can't yell with it.
Thanks. I ran the Reed City run for a little while. I've called and talked to you a few times. What is actually happening to these drivers that aren't putting their locks on their trailers?
Well, the drivers currently that are not getting locks put on trailers and getting reported in, they are supposed to be getting service failures put against their record. I don't know how everybody knows, but if you get a service failure put against your record, it actually hurts your pay overall, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what's going on with them at this point in time.
Okay, so people are getting written up. So what's going on with, how come these drivers that run between Kalamazoo and Reed City, they're not doing it? I just got off that run like a week and a half ago. They're still not doing it.
And that's something I'll address immediately following the meeting, Kev. Thank you.
Any other questions for Bill? Looks like we got one.
We do.
Just 1 second, Piston.
Bill, now are we going to sell that other little can in the store for us to be able to get?
I'll talk with Tiffany to see if they can get the product in the store. I know that the other product I was talking about, the LP2, that's sold out of Ace Hardware, and I went there yesterday, they didn't have any, so I'll see what we can do about getting in the store.
Right next to you.
Is there a particular brand you're recommending?
Is there a particular brand you're recommending for the?
The LPS2 is the one that the manufacturer recommended, but this other one, the lock stuff that we have here, the lock dry lube, it's a 3-in-1. You can buy that at Home Depot. That's a good one also.
All right, I think we got one in Piston.
Are you still doing the trade-in for a lock that's not an Abloy 4 and Abloy lock?
Yeah, so that's a good point there. There's a $30 trade-in policy that we have. If you go out to the outbound or wherever and you have a older lock and you want to get rid of it, or even if you have an older Abloy, you want to upgrade to a new one. It's not working, it's sticking on you all the time. Just don't like the way it's working anymore. Trade it up $30 credit, so it'd be $18 and something for a brand new lock. If you trade in your old lock, whether it's a master lock, whatever kind it is, you get the $30 credit.
All right, that's awesome. Any other questions for Bill? Bill will be hanging out here in the back, so just find him after the meeting. He'll get you taken care of. Let's give him a round of applause. You know, hey, as we come down here to the end, John, one quick reminder, you know, we've got these personal body alarms over here. You know, after the meeting, come on up and let's get rid of all of them before the meeting is over with. You know, also, you know, if you look up here, you know, you got Brian and Richard, me and John, you know, a couple of the speakers today, everybody had on red. It's kind of a thing here. You know, I've seen a couple of the t-shirts here that's got the Prime logo and the flag that shows, you know, we wear red on Fridays, RED. Remember, everyone deployed. So if you served in the armed forces, if you served this country and protected our freedom in uniform, if you would stand and give us an opportunity to thank you for your service. Thank you guys so much. And I'm gonna bring up another veteran, Mr. Steve Lucky, our Vice President of Sales and Marketing.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Mr. Black, I want to shake your hand. Appreciate all you do for us.
been here a while, helped create the culture. So thank you for that. My name's Steve Wutke. I'm in sales, and actually you all are in sales. Everybody that picks up a load and delivers it on time. You're our very best salespeople. And we thank you for what you do. You new folks that are joining our company, really want to thank you for investing your time and trust in Prime. It's been said earlier, but we're far from perfect, but every day we want to get just a little bit better, and you all help us do that. So we really appreciate your feedback. Kevin, you see something, you say something, that helps us. So thanks for pointing that out. I'd say the same to all of you as you're running across the country. If you see something that doesn't look right, an operator that doesn't act right, you've got a fleet manager, all you need to do is get a truck number, share it, and we'll try to correct the situation. That's how we get better. In general, you know, the economy's struggling just a little softness here in the first part of the year. On the sales side, we've really been on the road a lot, seeing our existing customers, new customers, trying to create a larger basket of freight. I think we're winning. I think we're going to get that done. We're in the middle of bid cycles for many of our customers right now, and we've got a very good strategy that's in place, and I think we're going to win again. Our customers really appreciate the service. I will tell you one area that has been really good for us, and that is these customers, big box stores that have a situation where maybe if we're not on time or we're early, the shipper gets dinged with 1% of the total cost of the load. Now, that's called OTIF, on time and full. We seem to be figuring that out. We do a lot of that business, and the reason we're gaining more volume in those areas is because of the service that you give. So we thank you very much for that. You know, we talked about a lot of things here for you new folks today. We really do care about our drivers. We care about safety. It's our highest calling. These CSA scores, they are important, and we need to do everything we can to maintain a very high level of scoring on the CSA scores. That's all part of safety. Your obligation as a professional driver, obviously, is to protect the general public as well as yourself. Part of service is also protecting the freight, which protects you. So please think in those terms. We're all in it together. We're winning. We got a great company. We have a great company because of all the good folks we have here. I'd like to introduce the guy that started this company a few years ago, Robert Lowe. Now, you know, oftentimes they say the best for last. In this case, they say the oldest for last. So, go ahead. The floor is yours, Bart.
That's true, but it's not just the age, it's the number of miles you have on you, just like these old trucks. And I got lots of miles. Let me tell you something. Mr. Black, I know you're bad because you got those short pants on. It's chilly out there. It's chilly out there, a normal person, but Mr. Black can handle it. We appreciate what you've done here. Steve, just to kind of latch on to the point you were making about the CSA scores and why we're giving it so much attention. These shippers are looking. I mean, right now, everybody knows the economy ain't red hot, right? We all know that. A lot of downward pressure on rates. We're fighting and scratching and clawing to maintain these rates because you all deserve them. We've worked hard to achieve them. So we're all about maintaining the rates and maintaining the volume or growing the volume. These big companies, some of them from across the pond have got, you know, some folks that, you know, want to make a name with their company. I would say maybe want to be the hero. And if they can knock us down, they like to do that because we're a big player in this marketplace. So they're looking at these CSA scores, and those are really about compliance. You know, we try to equate safety and compliance, but we're very safe. We're very safe. But the compliance part, which gets back to the logs, complying with the rules. I mean, I don't know that using personal conveyance occasionally makes you less safe per se, but that's not how those folks look at it. That's not how the administrators, We didn't write the rules, you know, just kind of like the IRS and the deductions and all that. We just got to play by them. And where our scores are not good, that could cost us volume. So you don't see it. You know, it's kind of like the invisible hand out there in the marketplace. But that few hours or that layover night where you used to load that same day may have something to do with it. Certainly you see it on the green lights at the scales, right? It's noticeable. Well, we need to get these compliance scores up, and we're damn sure going to get that done. Y'all are damn good. We're good, and we're going to get that done. It may be a little uncomfortable here and there, but I hope you understand why. Understand why it's so important. Want to protect the rate, want to protect the volume. Steve, you want to embroider on that, or?
No, I think you've said it very well. It's just part of the overall service and quality that our company performs. And we are being kind of pointed out by our scores on the rise. We just need to do better, and we can do better. It's simple stuff. This conveyance thing, I know it's a pain in the ass. I get it, but we just got to figure it out together. Okay. So please keep that in mind. You know, our customers are supremely loyal to Prime because of the service that y'all give. We just don't need to betray them in the service or the safety side. So please keep that in mind. We'll get it done together and appreciate it. Thanks for bringing it up again, Robert, and weighing in.
Yeah, that's good. And of course, you know, likewise, like the compliance, the OTIF scores are what really help us because we are on time. Now, sometimes we get roped into delivering early because somebody goes up to the guardhouse and they, oh yeah, sure, come on in. And then they write it up and they take a deduction from the shipper. And that's how that game works. So we got to be not early, not late. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but that's just the world we live in.
It really is. You know, one last thing I'd like to say for you all. We like Prime to be a destination. We don't like it to be a stop off. So we just want you to understand our business model. We want you to understand our values, and we want you to be comfortable here and grow with us. We've got a lot of opportunity, as Kyle pointed out, in food grade, inedible as well, flatbed, got a nice flatbed offering. Our intermodal offering is looking for dray operators as well. So we've got a little bit of everything going here, and it's all available for you all. So thank you again, Robert. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Now get out there and sell something. Don't give it away either. Sell it. Sell it. Get more for it. Appreciate you. Love you, folks. God bless you, and please be safe.